You're 2 years old. Guards are pulling you away from your mother, screaming, into a palace of 980 rooms. That toddler is Puyi. He's about to become Emperor of China. He'll rule an empire of 400 million people and control none of it. This isn't a coronation, it's a kidnapping with a crown attached. And the walls around him are about to become his entire world. Outside those walls, China is falling apart. Inside them, nobody's told the boy emperor a thing. By the time he understands what's happening, it'll already be too late. Let's go back to the day it all started, 1908. The old Empress Dowager Cixi is dying, and she needs an heir fast. So she picks a toddler nobody's ever heard of. 2 days later, she's dead. Puyi is emperor. He didn't campaign for it. He didn't even understand what a throne was. He just knew he wanted his mother, and she was gone. From that day, his whole life becomes ceremony. Bow here, sit still there, never leave the walls. 980 rooms, and he's not allowed past the gate of any of them. His only company? Eunuchs paid to obey his every whim. Which sounds fun, until you realize what that actually did to a kid. He once had a eunuch flogged for setting his tea down wrong. Absolute power, zero supervision, and a brain still learning right from wrong. But here's the twist nobody in the palace wanted to say out loud. The empire this boy supposedly ruled had already stopped listening. 3 years into his reign, revolution breaks out across China. Puyi is 6 years old. He has no idea his empire is ending. Outside, 2,000 years of imperial China are collapsing in months. Inside, his mother figure kneels and explains he must give up the throne. He doesn't cry over losing an empire. He cries because she's crying. February 1912, the abdication is signed. China becomes a republic. Puyi becomes nothing. And everything at once. Here's the strange part. Nobody kicked him out. Not yet. The new republic lets him keep his title, his servants, and his cage. He's still called emperor. He still gets bowed to. Inside the walls only. Outside those walls, the entire country's forgotten he exists. Imagine being a king of one building, forever, while the world moves on without you. Puyi grows up reading about his own empire like it's ancient history. He starts wanting things he's not allowed. A bicycle, a telephone, the outside. He even gets a British tutor who tells him the truth for the first time. Reginald Johnston tells him, "You're not really an emperor, you're a prisoner in silk." And Puyi starts to believe him. Because by 1917, something even stranger happens. A warlord marches into Beijing and puts Puyi back on the throne. For 12 days. 12-year-old Puyi is emperor again. Briefly, chaotically, pointlessly. Then another army marches in and undoes it just as fast. Puyi's whole restoration lasts less time than a school field trip, and he learns the most dangerous lesson of his life. He's a symbol other men fight over, not a person, a prize. And that prize is about to get a lot more dangerous to hold. Because by 1924, a new warlord takes Beijing, and he's done playing nice. His name is Feng Yuxiang, and he wants the emperor gone. For good. On November 5th, 1924, soldiers surround the palace. Puyi is 18 years old. He's about to lose the only home he's ever known. He's given an ultimatum: leave within hours or be removed by force. 980 rooms, and suddenly none of them are his anymore. Servants scramble, treasures get grabbed, centuries of history packed into minutes. Puyi walks out the same gate he was carried through as a toddler. 16 years inside those walls, gone in an afternoon. He's not an emperor anymore. He's just a man standing outside a palace. And somewhere out there, in a China he's never actually seen, people are waiting for him. Some of them want to protect him. Some of them want to use him. That part's next. Puyi steps toward a car and freezes. He's never even seen one this close. He grabs the handle wrong. Nobody ever taught him. Servants opened everything for him. Within days, Japanese officials are circling, smiling, offering shelter he desperately needs. Homeless, humiliated, and out of options, Puyi says yes. He has no idea that one handshake will define the rest of his life. Because Japan isn't rescuing him. Japan is recruiting him. They're carving out an empire in Manchuria, and empires need a familiar face. A real emperor. Tarnished, exiled, desperate, but still technically real. 9 years later, they hand him a brand new throne in a country that isn't even his. He's not emperor of China anymore. He's a puppet wearing an emperor's face. Same silk robes, same title, same throne, and once again, zero real power. The toddler carried into a cage at 2 is now carried into a far bigger one at 27. For 13 straight years, he signs whatever decree they slide across his desk. And every single day, he's quietly terrified of one thing he cannot control: staying useful, because the moment he stops, he knows exactly what happens. 1945 arrives, and Japan is losing the war fast. Soviet tanks grind across the plains, straight toward Puyi's second stolen palace. Puyi scrambles for a plane out, but he doesn't get far at all. Soviet soldiers are waiting for him the second his feet touch the tarmac. The last emperor of China is now, officially, a prisoner of a foreign army. 980 rooms once belonged to this exact man. Now he sleeps on a thin cot in a bare Soviet prison cell. 5 long years pass behind bars. Then communist China comes to claim him. Not to crown him again, this time to remake him completely. They send him to a special prison in Fushun, built for war criminals. For 9 years, guards teach him how to make his own bed, tie his own shoes. Basic things a 2-year-old emperor was simply never allowed to learn. The boy who once had a servant flogged now kneels and scrubs his own floor. 1959. After 9 years of re-education, he's finally granted a pardon. The last emperor of China walks out free, as nothing more than an ordinary citizen. He gets a real job. First a gardener, then an archivist. The man who once ruled 400 million people now waters flowers for a weekly wage. He buys his own groceries now. He even rides his own bicycle through town. The exact kind of bicycle a palace guard once forbade him from touching. He quietly remarries. No ceremony, no bowing, not one servant in sight. For the very first time in his entire life, nobody is watching his every move. He sits down and writes a memoir, calling it From Emperor to Citizen. In it, he finally tells the truth about a boy who never chose anything. 1967. Puyi dies quietly of cancer in a Beijing hospital bed. No throne waits for him this time. No silk, no 980 rooms, just the ashes of an ordinary man in a plain, ordinary cemetery. But the palace that swallowed his entire childhood is still standing, untouched. Millions of tourists wander through those same halls every single year. Almost none of them know a toddler once screamed for his mother in that exact courtyard. 980 rooms, and he was trapped, one way or another, in every single one. So think about that, next time someone tells you power means freedom. Puyi held the title his entire life. He never once held the choice. Crowned at 2, deposed at 6, restored briefly at 12, exiled at 18, puppet emperor at 27, prisoner at 39, finally truly free at 53. One single man, 6 completely different lives, and not one of them was his own idea. If stories this strange are your thing, you're already in the right place. Subscribe. A new animated history documentary drops every single Saturday. Because history is full of people who never asked for the lives they got stuck with. Puyi's just the one who happened to grow up locked inside a palace. 980 rooms, and not a single one of them ever felt like home. And somewhere right now, in another palace, another empire's about to repeat this exact mistake. Crowning a helpless child, locking away an actual person. Next time, we're prying those doors open too. And trust me on this one, that story gets even stranger than this. See you inside the next Forbidden City.